Hello, my name is Prashanti Dejager, the yogi, activist, ethnopharmacologist, Ayurvedic practitioner, one of the founders of Organic India, and a trustee of the Dunagiri Foundation Trust. I'm here, 2,500 meters in the Himalayas, in a Kutki field, one of the world's greatest liver herbs. Kutki, it literally means, it comes from the Sanskrit word katuki, which means, katu means pungent, it's a pungent herb. But if you taste it, it's a bitter herb. So there's this wonderful magic that the body takes a bitter herb, transforms it into a pungent one, and so there's like double medicine going on here. That is just the tip of it. There's so much more going on. The Latin name is Piquerisa carau. Do you know your Latin? Picro means bitter, and risa is means the root, a bitter root. Carau is one of the local names in the Himalayas for this herb. Like I said, this field is near Pindari Glacier, about 2,500 meters, northern part of Kamoan in the state of Uttarakhand. This is one of the world's greatest liver herbs, no doubt. And why do I say that? Based on what the Ayurvedic tradition has been saying for thousands of years, based on what one of my mentors has told me, Dr. Narendra Singh. He has thousands of case studies using Kutki to practically create miracles in people. And he also, and also my own clinical experience, my own experience on myself, what my friends say, and finally, the Western peer-reviewed international journals, there's so many articles, which it's unbelievable what this herb will do. And so based on those four things, I'm going to tell you, there's probably no better herb for the liver, for to some extent the brain, the kidney, and the blood than Kutki. You know, it's really good to have like a phrase to remember these herbs. So one of those phrases can be optimize deep terrain, deep organ terrain by detoxing, rejuvenating, and replenishing. So detoxing, let's start there. Detoxing, there's, of course, the liver takes all the toxins, so many of the toxins. With Kutki, it can help the body expel these toxins out of the body, and if it can't do that, it neutralizes it. Many different functions. Rejuvenating, there's like, in my view of things, there's two different types of medicines. There's like a masculine medicine, which just attacks the problem, and then there's more feminine medicine, which makes the terrain so incredibly strong and powerful and integrated so that it's great terrain for wellness, not such great terrain or horrible terrain for imbalance. And Kutki makes the liver such incredible terrain, such powerful terrain that so many imbalances, again, very, very strong imbalances, some of the things that are feared the most, they simply can't survive. Kutki is fantastic for immunity. One of the reasons why is it simply optimizes microbial populations in the body. I'll say it that way. You know, it's fantastic. It's an adaptogen. Adaptogens are those herbs which increase systemic resilience to all kind of stress. Kutki is one of the best herbs for supporting the body to deal with all these stressors. Anti-stress adaptogen. One of the things with being adaptogen, it has to be two-directional. It has to help the body attain homeostasis. This is, again, helps the whole body maintain balance. Another one, digestion. You know, so often you might have, you think that your digestive challenges are in your stomach or in your colon. To optimize digestion, you need a really strong liver. Here's another really important point. Often when people have imbalances in the hormones, you know, they tend to treat reproductive function. The deal is that all hormones, you know, they may be created all over in the body, they're destroyed, they're broken down, they're catabolized in the liver. If your liver isn't strong, you're going to have too many hormones in your body. The body has all these ways of doing the job, right? Like, for instance, glutathione. It has endogenous antioxidants with which it operates. Kutki boosts those endogenous antioxidants. Things like glutathione, SOD, superoxide dismutase, catalase, all these warriors within us helping us attain health. So not only is Kutki going directly after all these problems and addressing it on its own, it's also helping the body create this overall terrain and this overall function, which is simply unsuitable for imbalance. Optimizes function at all levels. Cognitive function, another great way of, or reason why. You know, the brain is a small thing, right? It takes 20% of the oxygen in the body. Where is a lot of that oxygen production and where the oxygen is connected to the red blood cells? You know, it's a whole process. If you don't have healthy blood, which, you know, you're not going to have healthy oxygenation of that blood, and so often cognitive function wanes. To optimize cognitive function, you need a really strong liver. This is one of the reasons why Kutki is so great for cognitive function. Another reason, this is one of the cases where it's not in the tradition necessarily, but it is in the Western peer-reviewed international research. You know, you have axons and dendrites talking to each other, right? So if there's any congestion in there, you know, that interaction, that communication between nerves is not going to be so great. Kutki has been proven to remove that congestion between, or, you know, just optimize that flow of information between the nerves. It's yet another great way. We are up at about 2,500 meters in the Himalayas, in the state of Uttarakhand, Kumaon region, near the Pindari Glacier. So this is marvelous work, being up in the Himalayas, but it's hard work. There's a lot to do, and you almost need to be smitten in order to come up here. There's many reasons why I'm up here. You know, the whole ethnopharmacology, the clinical. This is such an amazing herb clinically. Vajra is up here. He's wandered these mountains for many, many years, learning from the sadhus, all the traditions.
When I was traveling in India in the 2001, 2002, 2003, studying these high Himalayan species, I came to realize that a lot of them were in an ecologically sensitive state and potentially going extinct. So I identified a group of these species and raised the funds to start Dunagiri Foundation so that we could start the empowering the village people to cultivate and grow these herbs. So Kutki is one of the ones that is being proliferated right now and is showing to be successful. A lot of these herbs are very difficult to grow and take up to 2-3 years before you can harvest. The field that we're in now is 1 year old, and potentially in 1 year will be able to be harvested. Now, if we were here a few months ago, you would see the green, lush vitality of these leaves in the middle of the monsoon season. Now we're seeing that in October, it's the season where these leaves are starting to brown out. They're waiting for the snow, and these crops will sit under snow for about 2-3 months. And they need that. These plants need to be stressed out in the nature to bring out their bitter medicinal qualities. With Vivek Joshi, who is our hero, if you ask me. He is the one who is really doing the hard work, going up to these villages, and he has a really cool story to tell. And Vivek, tell us a bit about yourself and how you came to be here.
Yeah, well, it started 2 years back in 2010, and since I was doing my PhD work since 2006, I saw that many of the these herb collectors, they are actually collecting a lot of these endangered herbs. The first thing was that all this Kutki cultivation was being done in a very small clusters, where actually there was not reach of many of the medicinal plants companies and people who are actually interested in this herb, and individual practitioners and other people. So my aim was to find out some clusters where we can actually grow this herb on large scale and supply the best quality herb to the market. So 1 year back in 2011, we chose this Supi village for this cultivation because as you can see, this is a high Himalayan village, and geographical conditions are perfect, microclimatical conditions are perfect for the growth of the Kutki. So even the farmers were a bit motivated because they have seen that these herb collectors and many of the farmers from this village have seen that there is a trend where people were collecting, wild herbs from the nearby alpine area since last 40 years, 30 years. But the quantity has actually reduced now. They are not, because the wild gene pool is being damaged. It's under threat. So we thought that we can start this from Supi village also, the process, and then this is what the result is. I mean to say the farmers are doing it good. We are helping them, and now we are trying to connect these farmers with NABARD Bank and also with government of Uttarakhand, Department of Horticulture and Medicinal Plants to provide these farmers, empower them to get drying facilities, post harvesting facilities, packaging facilities, so that the efficacy of this herb can be preserved. If we the issue is not only that the herbs are being grown in this remote location, but the things which are other things which are very technical, like you have to go for testing of the herbs, you have to go for gene mapping of this herb. So all this will be done by us, and it will be a great work.
So, Vivek, what brings you up here?
To work for bears and work for environment.
The whole ecosystem.
A whole ecosystem functions properly. That's, if that can be done, I'll be more than happy, satisfied.
I want to talk about some of the challenges we still face. Now, one of them, the primary one, is actually getting these herbs grown. And that, we are starting to get the momentum, get the ball rolling with this. Now, the history of the first herbs that have been being cultivated, and because there have been schemes in the past introduced by government and NGOs, they come to these villagers and they say, come and grow this Kutki. It will be a good idea. It's a good herb to grow and it's valuable in the market, so you should grow it. But they come, they give money to the villagers, and then they don't really come back to monitor. And then when these herbs are ready to be harvested, the villager himself doesn't know how to sell it. Yeah. So part of the main problem is from the source to the shelf, we need to make sure that it's sustainable and that the people involved are all getting what they need, especially the farmer who works and slaves and sweat and blood to make these herbs happen.
If I see the problems from my part, there are huge problems. One of the biggest problem is that we don't get big Kutki growing fields everywhere in this Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh. There are small pockets where Kutki is being grown, and all of these pockets are in a remote destination like Supi, wherein for 5 or 6 months the roads are in such a bad condition that you cannot come and monitor what's the need of the farmer. Sometimes in winters it snows so heavily that these areas are closed for 2 to 3 months. So the problem is that these farmers who are actually growing this Kutki, this all Kutki can be, can just ruin like this if we don't have proper post-harvesting facilities in field, in small clusters. All of these facilities should be, decentralized. Should be small facilities using, techniques like solar drying or something, shade drying, or using some other technique, so that we can preserve the efficacy of this herb. We can harvest this herb in a short period of time when the alkaloid level or when the active contents are at the highest level. For that we need funds, we need money, and this is where these farmers and people like me are being supported by Dunagiri Foundation and Organic India. We are trying to generate that kind of funds by linking these farmers with doing convergence with government agencies, doing convergence with banks like NABARD. So we are trying to initiate the process to not only in Kutki but also in different herbs, which can give these farmers economical benefit, and also it will send a message to all these collectors that look, there is somebody who is paying a good price, who is actually respecting your hard work of cultivation. Not just wild collection is being respected.
Because Kutki is still severely illegally harvested. The market price is at a certain rate that a cultivated herb must be valued higher than the wildcrafted one. So we're facing an issue that these farmers and the people like Vivek who are trying to support these farmers are having a hard time selling this beautiful, organic, sustainable Kutki that's coming from these high altitude Himalayas. So, and we're finding it hard to find integral companies who are able to identify the difference between illegally wild harvested, endangered plant and a cultivated one. They don't have the integrity themselves to say, hey, you know what, maybe I should do the right thing and buy the herb that is sustainable. Instead, they try to nickel and dime these farmers and saying, oh no, but I can get for this price in the market. And it's just really unfair, and it's really just a sign of the times, of these economic times, that it's integrity is not on the top of people's list, that profit is. So a lot of what we're going to do with Dunagiri Foundation is find sources of people who have integrity, who will buy these herbs at the value that is fair, so that these farmers get the rewards that they deserve, and so that these plants also get into the hands of people who are going to make good medicine, who are going to treat people properly. Because at the moment, the people who are buying these herbs in large quantity are these what I call Ayurvedic pharmaceutical companies, who in the end of the day dilute these herbs to such a level to sell it at such a cheap price that you might as well be eating sand, because it's not doing you any good.
When people with just business minds come into the situation and destroy the integrity, destroy the quality of the whole situation. And how can we say that it's truly high quality Kutki unless we are here in this field looking at it, and we have somebody like Vivek, monitoring it and making sure that this is grown properly, processed properly, and what is grown here is what ends up in the market.